let's get into the reason I brought you guys here. And it's, I miss you too, but I also want to talk about what would be like 2 weeks out at this point, 3 weeks out, the Loki season finale. What's crazy is, like, after I watched it, I instantly hit up like Tech in our little group Discord thing. Like, I hit both of them up, and I was like, "Oh my motherfucking god!" Like,
and I was like a couple of days behind, so I just had to watch you guys just explode.
I think
quietly explode.
I was trying to talk to anyone who saw it at that point. Like, I was reaching to talk to anyone about it because it was just too much.
It was fucking powerful, man. Hold on, let me double down real quick. I hope y'all enjoying the talk. This is actually it's crazy because like we were just saying, like, Ben was a few days behind, and like me and Tech kind of had like a small Discord. They're like, oh my god. But I gotta say, Tech, you were 100% right, bro. Like, when you said, you were like, oh yeah, they need to. Bro, I couldn't find no pictures on this show. I was trying to get like some cleaner pictures, but they're not like big enough. When you said they have to show the multiverse, and I'm like, bro, they've already shown the multiverse. We know that the multiverse is there, and that definitely was not the case. Because, like, if they had shown me what they showed me in this show, I would have been on the floor somewhere else. So it's like the build-up is crazy, and I think it was really dope because all of us had like this kind of different thing we were looking forward to see. But like, just to recap the episode, right? So they finally get to this mysterious castle, with cracks all the way through it. I'm trying to find a specific photo. With cracks all the way through it, and as well as
hey, let me say something about them cracks real quick. There's this thing in Japan. I forgot what they call it.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where if they break a pot or a plate or something, they glue it back together with this like gold.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks exactly like this castle.
Yes, it looks exactly like the castle. But before we even get there, they started up this season finale with a crazy montage of sounds, music,
the logo.
Sights, a crazy logo, some of it referencing Marvel, and then basically just referencing, things that have affected people throughout time, right? And it's spliced with like some Avengers lines, quite a few specific lines. I didn't go in and like break all of them down, but it was one thing that stuck out to me during that, because it started with like a double black hole, right? And it showed like a ship like flying out, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, that actually kind of stuck to me a little bit. But I don't know if you guys know. You guys do remember the ship that they showed it was like one of the first things they showed. That was the ship of the Collector. And it's been confirmed that it was the ship of the Collector by the writers of the show. Now, we know the Collector to be dead, but we don't know if the Collector is dead, right? Because the last time we saw him is when Thanos got like the
Reality Stone.
Got the Reality Stone from him, right? But that was one of the things they shown, and you can still kind of see what it looks like it was. It came from one of the timeline instances, just like you see going across in the background. It looks like it kind of pulled us out of the time stream and then to the end of time where this castle resides, right? After giving us all these clips from, the historic Marvel movies and showing us, the collapse star or and that turned into a big bang after a black hole approached singularity. Like, I think that shit's really cool because it puts in a concept like how big this is, especially where you have two people that are apparently at the end of time, two variants, right? Two variants that are at the end of time going into this castle that looks like it was sewn together by, gold. I can't remember what it's called, Ben, but you're 100% right.
Somebody in the chat said Kintsugi, that might be it.
Kintsugi, that makes sense. That sounds about right.
So I just had to,
But
it just hit me right in the face. I'm like, oh, that looks just like that.
Yeah.
People in the chat said it did too, so it's cool.
So they go in to this castle. They're approached by, Miss Minutes, who surprised the shit out of us. I had a photo of this shit. Hold on. It was this photo. Like, legit, she was like, boom, and they were like, oh shit. Like,
I jumped a little bit.
It was pretty good, right? Like,
what's that all about, huh? How is she outside of time?
So
that's kind of the thing.
That's really odd. You know, like I've been thinking about that, right?
Well,
Like,
cartoon character.
who the fuck is this character? Like, she has to be something, right? Like,
Now we're about to get a whole ass cartoon show. Well, today, right? It started today.
yeah, it started today. I didn't watch. I'm actually gonna watch it after this. I'm gonna watch it with the
tonight.
taste buds after this.
You guys know I watched it already.
I know you watched it already. That's why you all quiet and shit.
So like, you know, it's kind of interesting, right? I hate to diverge, but you got to fit it in where you can get it in. But like with the timeline split, and there's a cartoon in this real time show, and we're about to get a whole series on a cartoon. Like, what does that mean?
I think the what if and Tech, since you've watched it already, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like there are literally the Marvel what if is a span of like what's happening in Loki. Like it still goes in the story with what
Really, it's all canon.
Yeah, I mean it's a what if, like the what if scenario, we already know it's like a real comic book thing, right? Like they've literally done it before, but they're saying that what if is the follow up to Loki. So you're like the what if scenarios are happening because we're looking at these different possible timelines. This, and once again, I haven't seen it yet. So Tech, please correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody knows more, this is just my assumption at this point. This is all me assuming.
I don't know how they're gonna make it canon. They definitely said it is canon, but the way it's presented is like we're looking at these timelines. Like there's multiple timelines, and now we're gonna take a look at it into it.
Okay, I figured that's how they would do it. I've been telling my clients that all week.
Oh, okay.
Like, this coming out right after Loki, like this makes perfect sense.
I mean, that's what, and it kind of seems that way, right? Like it looks like they gave you like they have Marvel zombies in there. They had like evil Doctor Strange, and the first episode is the Peggy Carter one, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like it's
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we get both Loki, we get Loki and Sylvie, who make it into the castle. And it's a really creepy castle. It looks super cool. But they finally get the reveal of who resides in said castle, and it's Kang. And first off, let me just say, Jonathan Majors as Kang, I did not expect that at all. I did not expect them to, like, I expected them to give us like the hint, but they literally gave us the whole character's breakdown right here. He tells us how his name is Nathaniel Richards. He discovered multiple timelines because another variant of him discovered it, and they saw that universes were like, you know, on top of each other theoretically, and they started working with each other to expand upon this, but to the point where he met with all of his variants, and of course there's evil variants that came from that. And Kang basically says that like his whole purpose of coming to power in this instant was to stop the other Kangs from, you know, running wild, right? But just to show, like, you know, the conflict here is that Sylvie's entire goal was to kill the person that was behind all of this, right? To kill whoever is in charge of the timeline and the TVA. So she's already dead set. Loki, on the other hand, he believes this story. He believes the story that there are these other versions of Kangs, and that he is the lesser evil of many, many variations of his evil self that would potentially come and like make things disastrously worse for, you know, everybody. Not even just specifically one person or one sect of the MCU, but everybody in the MCU.
Universe.
And like, that's fucking sick, because we're not getting this cocky ass character. And to be fair, we don't know if this character is going to play out like this for the rest, right? Because if there are variations, right? I feel like there has to be some kind of variant of like how they're going to be portrayed, right? And by the end of this, I guess we get the feel that we're going to see every or a lot more of the Kang variants that come throughout time. But Loki believes the story. Loki's like, yo, what if this guy's right? What if us killing this guy unleashes even more danger? Like, this dude is really dangerous, right? And this is really odd, considering that like Loki is one of the only surviving people, especially in this instance, who came face to face with Thanos. And the fact that even Loki was like, you know what? I'm a liar and I believe this guy. That dude wasn't lying. Like he literally says, he's like, look, I'm a liar. That guy was not lying.
Super interesting. He just took this wholesale, and there was a shred of doubt, maybe, but it was just like, yo, I'm gonna tread on the side of caution, right?
He said something real intelligent when he said, "This is too big of a decision to not analyze, like to not think about and not listen to. Like it's too much. Like the cost of getting this wrong is too high."
Yep, that's what he said. He's like, "It's yes." That's exactly what he said.
Well, that's well written. It's a good line.
It is.
But even with that being said, like, I think that was another thing to look at too. We had, Loki, who was one of the main people who helped Thanos in the original, and now he's the character that's trying to be like, all right, well, look, I don't want to fuck with this. This is something even I don't want to fuck with. Like, I don't want to touch it. But Sylvie is set, so they get into a huge ass fight about this, right? They get into this huge fight, where Loki literally puts himself in between Sylvie and Kang. And the writer actually definitely did pull like a left turn, because he said it would be no romantic interest in the show, but here we are, and these motherfuckers kissed, right? Now that doesn't really count as incest, I guess. I don't know, but so he said what?
Nothing. That was just a bark laugh you got out of me.
Does it count? I mean,
it's kind of incestuous.
If you
it yourself. There you go. It's masturbation.
It's masturbation. Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna tell you right now. If I had a female version of myself to help me masturbate, bro, I'd never leave the house. I'm gonna just be real. No, let me stop.
Oh no.
I'm just kidding, guys. But
all the identical twins in the chat just died inside.
Right? Deadpool tried it. Even drag. Oh my God, no, you ain't. It's called self-cessed.
Self-cessed. That's funny.
But anyways, I think that, and then she goes and she kicks Loki through this time door. Now, a very interesting take that they did with the shooting of this episode, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one who noticed it, is that they still had the makings of the TVA going on, right? Because Mobius makes it back to the TVA using the time door, right? And then you have Hunter B-15 and the rest of the TVA all scrambling, along with Renslayer, who now meets up with Mobius. Mobius goes in to confront her. Miss Minutes comes back and was like, hey, we got these files, and he wants you to see this, or something along those lines. She sees it, and that's when Mobius walks in.
That's not what I asked for, and she's like,
that's true.
This is what he wants you to see.
There you go. And once that happens, she kind of gets like, you see, she instantly becomes like more focused, a lot more calm as she goes to try to leave. Mobius walks in and confronts her, asks her what happens, right? Like, what the fuck, what happened, right? She was like, no, you betrayed me. She actually goes off, she's like, you betrayed me? We had a friendship. We've been friends for all this time, and you were just like, fuck it, And then he was like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna stop you. I can't let you leave. And she was like, you're no threat to me, right? And then she pieced up Mobius, and Mobius was like, well, I guess I'm dead. And she was like, no, you don't even get it. And leaves through said time door to go see who's at the end of this. Now, I've already talked about this, what Renslayer is to potentially Kang, so it makes sense, right? That she would go off and, to some degree, search for or join Kang. Now, that doesn't stop like the TVA thing, right? Which is still interesting to me, because we are so caught on the Loki, Sylvie, Kang thing. Like, my mind is just like, what the fuck? That you don't really get like the subtlety of them being so wrapped up in what's happening that the TVA is kind of taking a back seat. And by the time Loki gets back there, you realize that he's not even in the same timeline, or the timeline has been effectively changed to the point where Kang is the new ruler of said timeline, because Sylvie kills the one who remains, right? And I also thought it was a very interesting take on the one who remains, because in MCU lore, the TVA was created by the one who remains, right? And in this instance, it's Kang who has all these crazy variants, and he's the one Kang that basically remains, right? Like, it's him. So
I didn't have a revelation about a few things till just now. I think Renslayer going back into the portal probably maybe set things in motion for the way things are when Loki you realize that this is a different
Ah.
dimension, right?
Mhm.
And then we also know that she doesn't know what she's doing because when Miss Minute said this is what he wants you to see, and she goes, "Who's
Who?
he?"
Yeah.
So I think, and then the last revelation is that she's just gullible enough. There's a lot of dogma in this show. Obviously, we said this before. A lot of like sort of that religious overtone, right? She's all about like this couldn't have been for nothing, all that stuff. And I don't want to call her gullible because that's very diminutive. But like I think she might be gullible enough. I mean, again, if you forgive, identifying at this. This character is that we don't know. We'll see. But I think their character might be gullible enough to be tricked by Kang.
I'm sure.
And then as I think in the Marvel universe, they're partners or lovers or something, right? So. Right. Yeah, Brent Slayer's Kang's girl usually in the comics, right? Yeah. So, put all those things together, right? I think she's probably gonna be pretty crucial into how things became the way they are. I think. I don't know. That's like the only prediction I have. People usually ask my predictions, and like I said, I'm pretty usually like empty-headed when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, but that's where I'm at.
I think her continuation is going to be meeting the Kang. She's not going to meet He Who Remains. I think she's going to meet a Kang, and that's how we get introduced to Kang. I think.
Soulzan says there was only one TVA though. I mean, is that the case? There's multiple timelines, right? Like, honestly, I think
is the TVA outside of the timeline?
Yeah, the TVA is outside the timeline, right? Like that's why they can see the timeline.
Yeah. So how's the TVA changed?
Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously the TVA is not like, I don't think the TVA is the end all be all. Like I think we're giving He Who Remains too much credit. Maybe in his timeline he was just protecting his timeline from the other ones, so he basically nullified the existence of the multiverse to those who are in it.
That's what I'm thinking.
There's obviously because when they pushed Loki back, it was a different timeline. They don't know who he is. Morbius that has no idea who he is.
Yeah, which was really cool. I really like that effect. That's what
that was a nice twist.
It made me kind of sad on the inside. Did it make you a little sad?
Dude, that's what I was like getting to. Like they literally like all this stuff was happening. Like Loki was fighting Sylvie. We were getting the story from the One Who Remains, and like they're like scrambling around the TVA. But like it was crazy how passive they were to the existence of like the other Loki being there, and just like it was a nice way to shoot it, right? Like it was a very interesting way to shoot it. Like all these things were happening, like, man, obviously they're gonna go get Loki because they know this is where it stems from, right? But it wasn't that at all. It was sold to the point where it was like, oh, they don't even know he exists because the timeline's been changed. And I was like, oh my mother, like it just right up from under me. I was like, damn, they don't even care no more because the timeline has been changed significantly. So
like, yeah, they said something like, "Oh, you're from accounting or something, right?" Or
yeah, there's like, yeah, you're an agent, right? You're like, he's like, I know, yeah, I remember that. And he was just like, what? Like,
yeah, pretty crazy.
But
so, is Marvel throwing out the entire script? Are they starting over? Or are they going to try to return to normal and give us, our old friends back? Or are our old friends going to jump in and try to save this shit? It feels like I said, they're throwing it away and starting over. This is crazy, man. It's wild.
I've been thinking about that, right? I've been thinking about like how DC is doing, like, and this is kind of like going on the like just the storytelling side of things. So like DC, literally, they gave us like 3 movies, and then they were like, yeah, there's alternate timelines, right? Right. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, and like,
I mean, us lifelong comic book readers, like, yeah, duh, of course,
right? Like,
but all the moviegoers are like, what?
and we all know that, right? But for Marvel, their approach to it was a little different. Like they were like, there's like alternate timelines, but like the only reason, and it's really interesting to think about it this way, is like we were not like aware of it until this instance, right? Like if you read comics, yeah, sure, but in the MCU, you wouldn't think they're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna talk about the TVA and how the timelines are gonna work. They say a line where it's just like, well, how come I didn't know about you guys before? He's like, because you didn't have to, right? Like, we didn't have to know about these alternate timelines because we didn't know about variants, right? But now we know, and it kind of expands everything. And the only reason I say that is because I feel like DC is on the way to, like, resetting their entire universe. in the MCU, not in the MCU, in the DC film lore thing with live action people, especially with the Flashpoint series. Like, I've been saying it from jump. The minute they was like, yo, it's a Flashpoint, I'm like, yeah, they're just gonna reset the entire universe. I think that's what's gonna happen with Marvel at the end of this. I think by the time we get to the end of this next phase, we're gonna see like a kind of shift to either newer characters or like the different, kind of timeline versions, right? Like we get like we might get a new Steve Rogers. I don't think they should, but we could, right? Or they could leave those characters as kind of like headstones, right? Like as a like, hey, look, these guys were here no matter what. We might not ever see them again, but the characters being portrayed by, Anthony Mackie or, Chris Hemsworth or Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr., they still stand the test of time, right? But it kind of just branches out from there. So I personally, I still think this episode actually really did kind of set to me that they're really leaning towards the Secret Wars area where it's like we're going to get we might not get variations, but we're going to get some alternate timeline battles going on, especially if we get in Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home is for me is like one of the main puzzle pieces, especially after seeing like this shit, right? Especially after seeing like Loki. Also at the end of this, right? Like we see that, let me see if I can find this photo. We get to the end of things and Kang had taken over the TVA. At this point, the TVA had been, and this is different from what we saw last time because they had like the 3 figureheads, but in this instance, it's Kang, and he's definitely wearing something different, right? He's wearing like some kind of robe, definitely super villain wear my man is rocking right now. But we know now that the Kang that we get, and this is one of my concerns, and I said this on video, I was like, it's odd to me that Kang is going to be the main bad guy of Quantumverse, like Quantumania. I was like, he's too big of a bad guy for Ant-Man and Hank Pym to deal with solo. But if they're dealing with variations, or making it to the point where, Kang shows up in their timeline to try to either stop them from doing something further or just some different variation of the one who remains. Is it like, I'm really interested to know, is it going to be like the mad scientist guy? Is it going to be like the overall looming bad guy and seeing some shit guy? Or is it like the, hey, I know everything is going to happen character that we got from, the introduction, which I'm not sure.
See, I've been puzzled about this for a while. In Thor, when Natalie Portman's character went into Thor's world, she had scientific words for all of their
yes
words, right?
Yes,
it's like the same thing with different definitions. So I'm wondering what the difference is between timelines and multiverses, and the quantumverse and the timeline. Because we got Quantumania and we got Multiverse of Madness,
right?
One feels very scientific, one feels very ethereal, eternal, right? So are they two different threats? Are they one and the same? Is one like a scientific word for the same thing?
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh damn. No, they do a pretty good job of like kind of going on both. And I know exactly what you said. He was like so in Dark World, I remember exactly like when Natalie Portman's character got like the ether inside of her or whatever.
Yeah, they scanned her.
And she was like, what is this? She was like, oh, she said, it's a soul force. She's like, oh, you mean it's something that reads blah, 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 so-and-so? And she was like, no, it's called a soul forge. She's like, well, does a soul forge do X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah? She was like, yes. And then she was like, then it's a blah, blah, blah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember that because it was good. But that's how they, and I think Marvel does a good job of like kind of blending, right? Like the way Thor and, the Asgardians see, science is different, right? But Thor's already said, he's like, what you guys see is science, we call magic. So they kind of set the tone with Thor's belief, and then they give us these different characters like Natalie Portman and, Loki, and they kind of stretch outside of that realm as well.
Right? The new Hulk's a bit of a brainiac.
So, but I don't know. I think that them giving us the bad guy story here, right? Like, I feel like this was a really interesting way to say that this is going to be, if this is going to be the new bad, right? Like if this is going to be our next MCU main antagonist, right? If this is going to be the main bad guy, right? Like, are we just going to be dealing with Kang in multiple movies, or will there be a big payoff for either Kang succeeding, or, you know, this is just maybe the beginning of something and this is just a big curveball, because Marvel has been known to do that, right? There's still scenes from the Loki trailers that never came to pass, right?
Oh, awesome. That's
right?
Great.
So it's really interesting to me that Marvel has delved so deep into, you know, their own like Kool-Aid. They know people are looking for it. So what they're doing is they're like, you know, we got to throw them off the scent, right? Like we got to make fake scenes. We got to make fake trailers. We got to tell the writers to lie.
Speaking of which, somebody told me, and you guys probably know this right off the bat, that they didn't plan on having that sit-down Tarantino-style Kang, goofy Kang, Joker Kang kind of conversation, like throwing it all out there. Because, and I'm not calling you out, Tech, but remember, Tech, you yourself said that they're probably not going to show him.
That's
they're
true.
Going to just have him wink at the end, and we won't see him. And then, of course, the opposite happened. We got the full reveal.
But
so I'm wondering if they wanted to do what Tech said, and something. Okay, this is just what I heard. They said they saw what people were saying, and they gave us this instead. Do you think there's any truth to that?
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
Oh, really? I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, I heard that they actually had where they were going to fight Miss Minutes. That was going to be the big thing. But then they decided at the last minute to kind of bring in Jonathan Majors and have him go off. So yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I definitely didn't see that coming, and that's the reason why. It just doesn't seem like something that would be the typical thing that a show would do.
Man, how last minute though? Right?
I'm not sure exactly how last minute, but I definitely heard that it was last minute, and you know, they're obviously glad they made that change, but that's not the original written what they had planned.
Yeah.
So, in defense of Tech, right? In defense of Tech, right? In his idea.
I wasn't trying to call him out.
No. I mean,
I didn't feel like it was a call out.
Yeah.
This is just protecting the integrity of Tech being right. You know, this is what I'm doing right now. He did say that they would not show Kang, right? But technically, I guess they didn't, because it's the one who remains. So I guess Tech could still technically be right.
I did say that. I said they're going to give us he who remains and tease Kang. Which is actually exactly what they did.
Yeah.
Just in a more direct way.
Oh, I got to say this. We said it in our own podcast. I got to say it now. One of the single best moments of this episode, and maybe the entire show, is when she buries that dagger in his chest and he says and winks, "I'll see you soon."
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah.
So good.
It was buff.
So
that
good.
was so buff. Yeah.
How do you do that in the face of your own death, which I'm sure he's been waiting for millions of years? But like,
he said it. He's like, "I'm tired. This is a young man's game." Like, I was like, damn. Like the whole premise. My man X-Co, technically supreme.
Yeah.
But no, like you're right. Like the meta of them like having this worn out, like, oh, it's all written. I knew everything that was gonna happen. He's like, the only last thing is you two, right? Like even him being like, yeah, man, I know you're gonna do this. Like this is the way. Excuse me. This is the way it's gonna work. And then like him telling, I felt like he just gave us the plan for the MCU. He's like, oh yeah, so versions of me are going to be attacking all of you guys because she's gonna kill me. So, and then what, right? Like, then what happens? Because they already said that there's going to be a season 2 of Loki, right? Which I don't even know how that fucking picks up.
Post-credits. That was the big post-credits reveal, right?
Yeah, like, I don't even know how they're going to do that. Like, I don't know what this is going to be about. Like, unless it's like, this shit happens, like, if they typically have, like, the 10-year run. What if at the 5-year point, they're like, all right, Loki season 2, right? And then it's like, something completely different, or something that alludes to, you know, I'm so like out of my depth here because I don't know what they could do with a season 2 of this show comparatively.
Where's the MCU gonna go that they need a season 2?
Exactly.
Gonna stick around. Loki's gonna get out of the TVA. Maybe season 2 won't have anything to do with the TVA. Maybe was it B13? What's her name? B25? Whatever.
B15, I think.
Yeah, Mobius and Loki get out and do their own thing outside of the TVA. Like it's.
I don't think we're going to see Loki in a movie. I don't. He's not because he's not. I don't think he's in Love and what is it?
Thunder.
Yeah, Love and Thunder.
I was about to say Love and Rock. I don't know. Why. So I don't think he's going to be in that. So I don't think we're going to see him until season 2, and it may not be as far off as we think. Maybe they may keep it like a show and do another one next year.
That's awesome.
Damn, that would be interesting.
That'd be great.
And honestly, they might be able to pull it off before Ant-Man, or maybe right after Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man is next year.
Yeah, I think Ant-Man is next year. I'm pretty sure Ant-Man is next year.
Oh yeah, like February of February 2023. So yeah, we might get season 2 before we get Ant-Man.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Damn.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I just looked at it.
23. Oh yeah. Damn.
February 17th, 2023.
Wow, that's hella away.
We might see Kang come to power.
Yeah.
Before Quantumania.
Oh wow. Oh damn. Now that you say that, that's crazy.
And then they'll do a thing at the credits saying like Kang will return in Quantumania. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, so wait. Doctor Strange. Is Doctor Strange slated to come out this year?
It's 2022, I believe.
Okay. So there's nothing coming out this year.
We are only
No, Shang-Chi comes out in September. Spider-Man comes out. December. And Doctor Strange comes out this. No, is Doctor Strange not? It's early next year. Okay.
It's next year. I haven't found it yet, but I'm 100% sure it's next year. Yeah, March 25th, 2022.
Okay.
4 months from a movie we've not seen a trailer for. That's never happened.
Literally destroying me every day.
Bro, this dude RS1. I don't know if he was in the chat, bro. Oh, and the Eternals. You're right. Eternals this year. Shang-Chi, Eternals, and Spider-Man all this year. Yeah, that means, what if Kang shows up in the Eternals? What if Kang shows up in fucking Shang-Chi?
Right.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Shang-Chi is gonna be one of like an original story, kind of bring us the energy of like the older movies back.
Oh shit!
That big, grandiose. Yeah, like Black Widow, but even probably a little bit more exciting with the people with powers and stuff like that. Black Widow's just not that over the top type movie, but I think Shang-Chi will be, and I think it will be. But I don't think it'll be like the big world kind of excitement. So we're trying to like curtail expectations for some reason. I don't know why that's my role here.
Right? Exactly. Well, fuck that and fuck you. You can't stop me from speculating. In fact, I got a speculating idea right now. Here we go. What if? Let's and this literally just came to me, right? So what if Kang is going to appear in multiple MCU movies, right? Which I think they might be doing. If that's true, right? Like, we already kind of had our, like, alluding to Kang, right? Tony Stark hit us with you mess with time tends to mess back and everything, right? But one of the things that happens is that, like, the Mandarin in Shang-Chi, right? Like, this is just specifically for Shang-Chi, right? We know that the 10 Rings has been around for quite some time, right? And we know that, like, the father is apparently supposed to be some mystical person who's been around for a long time. What if they fit Kang into that? The fact that Kang is a person who's been moving in and outside of time, right? The fact that, like, Kang already said that, like, I laid every step for you guys and you just followed the path.
Yeah.
Like, what if that's part of the play, right? Like, what if he can show up in these movies because he moves throughout time, right? Like, he can go and just show up in, Shang-Chi, and as well as might be, you never know, he might be an arms deal. I ain't gonna say that. That's a lot. That's a large jump. But like, he could show up in a movie like Shang-Chi and be like, yo, what about this, right? Especially a movie like The Eternals, right? Like, it's not far-fetched to say that, like, Kang could show up in The Eternals to some degree.
We don't know the conflict. If I'm not mistaken, we don't know the conflict of the Eternals, and it would make sense because we do know that they've been around since the dawn of man, quote unquote. But what changes them? Because if they didn't come out for Thanos, what makes them decide to come out of their hiding? Maybe it is Kang.
Rip in the timeline.
A rip in the timeline. Ah.
Also, the poster art, whatever, the key art for What If has the Watcher in the corner.
Yeah, well, the Watcher he's the narrator. He's he's the show.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright apparently kills it. You heard him in the trailer.
He's just the best.
Yeah.
good voice.
Was a Fing Fang Foom rumored to show up in Shang-Chi? I don't think so.
Even like a weird, like golden sort of Iron Fist kind of allusion to a dragon. I thought.
So
we're talking about that in Shang-Chi, right? Because I definitely saw a dragon in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
I think that I don't think that's Fing Fang Foom. Actually, I actually think that's the like Kunlun, like the one of the like mysterious like kung fu like
where you get your chi.
Yeah, I think like that was that dragon, but I could be wrong. Like, cause I feel like it's really close to like Iron Fist. It's really close to Kunlun. Like all of the like, I feel like it's right there. And Shang-Chi in one of the more recent things, he was a protector of Kunlun. So like, it kind of makes sense. Like if it might not be Fing Fang Foom, it may be this dragon that is connected to Kunlun and not Fing Fang Foom. But I would be surprised. I would be really surprised if we get Fing Fang Foom in Shang-Chi. Like I would be genuinely like, oh shit, if they did that. Does Shang-Chi cement the fact that we won't get the original mystical rings? Maybe. They actually talked about the size of the rings, right? Like they're not like rings to fit on the finger, right? Like they're like rings that he's using on his arm and shit like that. So they're big enough for a dragon, but who knows if they're actually.
Oh, that's dope. If they're dragon rings, but they wear them as bracelets.
Yeah, like Fing Fang Foom. That's what when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, like if they wanted to put in Fing Fang Foom and the dragon was that big, the fingers would potentially be as long as somebody's normal or like that's what I'm thinking, right? Like,
I love it. That's great.
So that's all part of, said speculation of what could potentially happen. But no, I think this is really cool, right? Like just to go back to Loki, the fact that they found a way to introduce the next, like I feel like they set up the story for the next phase of the MCU with this whole series. Like the whole thing gave us a deeper look into like Loki, right? They set up the possibility of variants. They finally paid off the shout outs to tech and showed us what this multiverse would look like and what the potential like ramifications, how it's gonna fall off. They gave it to us at the end. They were just like, yep, this is the timeline, this is all fucked up. Like, yeah, this is what it looks like, right? And that's actually ridiculous because that means that the What If show, as well as just all the potential stories and characters that could overlap coming from it down the line, what's going to be the payoff? Because now they got a lot more people they got a lot more right to characters now that they could put in to really sell a big crossover, right? Remember how we was like, man, Civil War is about to come out, but Civil War had the X-Men, it had the fucking it had all these characters, but they didn't have the rights to any of them. That's different now, because if they go the route and say, well, hey, look, we're actually gonna make a Secret Wars movie, they could potentially, especially now that they're doing the Disney Plus shows. They have multiple movies coming out. They've already announced the Fantastic Four. They gave you the, alternate dimension reality play. That means we could really see an intro of a lot more characters, as well as just a lot more world building around those characters because of just what Loki did. Loki literally was like, hey man, we got the rights back to all our characters. Good. Let them know that we have them all, right? Because now, like, if you look at like what they did in this show, every movie that we've seen from the MCU up to date has been nothing but a variant, right? Like, if we talk about the original Peter Parker played by,
that's a good point, man. That's crazy.
Like straight up, like if Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, they're variants of Tom Holland, right? Like, and if they introduce any other Reed Richards, the Reed Richards that have already existed in the Fox movies, the one that had Michael B. Jordan in it, those are technically nothing but variants. The X-Men, the Hugh Jackman that we know is a variant, right? Like, so if you put that in,
so goddamn brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Is it corny to reset?
You could. You see what I'm saying? Like, think about that, right? The fact that they've established that the MCU is the main timeline and that these variants exist, that puts into play a bunch of shit. That means you could technically, right? And this is now, once again, I'm going back to this because, speculation Steve is in the building. This is how they could get Hugh Jackman back to play Wolverine. Like, they literally could bring back, and this is the comic book side of it, right? What if they bought back Hugh Jackman? Speculation Steve in the building. I just felt Tech roll his eyes through the internet. Speculation Steve.
He does not want Wolverine back.
Right? What
not
if?
at all.
What if?
Well, Hugh,
they bring back Hugh Jackman, but he's not Wolverine. He's old man Logan. They bring in Laura McKinney, right? She's older. She plays the new Wolverine, like in the comic books, right? So you have old man Logan show up in the Secret Wars movie. We get our Hugh Jackman Wolverine, but the only Wolverine that stays is X-23. Same thing could go for, say, a Miles Morales or one of these other characters, right? Like, they could potentially come to the MCU in a movie, in a Secret Wars, and then get stuck a la Spider-Man No Way Home, right?
Every year the MCU doesn't bring in Miles, they're tripping, man. They're tripping hard.
They know how much money is on the line. They know that if they bring that character in, like, they're about to start printing money, bro. And they're already coming out with an Into the Spider-Verse 2. And I've already speculated, this is fucking old man, the one who remains, Steve, saying that if they're really smart, they transfer CG Miles Morales over to the MCU just like they do in the comic books. They take him from one universe and they put him in another universe. And people are like, yo, what the fuck? Like, so there's not going to be any more Into the Spider-Verse movies? Well, maybe with, Spider-Gwen, maybe with Spider-Ham, Spider-Noir, some of those other remaining characters. But what if, once again, they give us, like, hey, Miles Morales from that universe transfers over, gets a live-action actor, and is now part of the MCU. I'm just saying it's possible.
I mean, take my money.
I've been saying forever. So JD Rex 4 says, I've been saying forever that the animated Miles Morales could be another dimension and will come to the real world. I've literally been saying that. And once again, if you attach that to the logic that I just gave you guys, Miles Morales and that Peter Parker are nothing but variants of Tom Holland. They could, once again, I'm gonna go even further. If you think about it, the Into the Spideyverse verse is just a different time. Like, it's literally just a different timeline for them. So even though they're like, yeah, man, where's fucking Spider-Man? They're like, well, I mean, you guys are a Spider-Man. Like, it still goes in line with the story that they're telling. Like, if they really wanted to, they could 100% cash that check.
Yep. Only time will tell.
But
that goddamn trailer.
Right, bro, they're supposed to have been and had a fucking Spider-Man trailer by now.
Yeah, they're fucking with us at this point.
They're definitely fucking with us right now.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
I mean, I get the logic with waiting for Loki, but
yeah, you can't say what people don't know already. That would fuck everything up.
Yeah, but what would be hard body is if they do it at the premiere of like you have to, like, they didn't put it online. This is just like this is the old man tech now. Like, who remembers trailers only at movie theaters and not on YouTube? Like,
yeah,
it'd be sick if you had to go to Eternals to see the trailer.
Oh my god, that's
or you wait 12 hours, you see somebody's like flip phone version of it.
Oh yeah.
They took it in the theater.
Bro, that would be so broken. That would actually be mad. That would actually fucking if they did that, they would single-handedly like, yeah, man, movie theaters just flooded all over again.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Damn, that would actually be cheating. Somebody's probably listening to this right now. Sir, I've got a crazy idea. I was listening to some random guys talk, and they said this. By
Johnson,
God.
You're a genius.
Get this man a raise. Oh, man. But, no, in all honesty, I do have a question, right? So we've reached the end of season 1, surprisingly enough, of Loki. What would you guys give it on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 to 10, you can go in 0.5 integrals, right, if you need to. So 5.5, 7.5, and a whole 9. And just for, the record, what does this rate as, your favorite Disney Plus show at this point? Because we've had 3, we're working on 4. What would you guys, how do you guys put it in there?
Well, all right, I'm gonna give it a 10. Because
damn,
You have to. You have to, dude. You can't
Damn.
tell me you can't tell me as a show it's not better than WandaVision. You can't tell me it's not better than Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's just better because it's bigger. It's what
It's really what draws us,
comic
right?
book fans
Yep,
want.
yeah. That's true.
It's what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for this big moment, like these big type, like what's next? Like we got over Thanos. What's next? All these other problems, they're problems, but they're small problems, right? Like Wanda's dealing with Vision's, death. That's her problem. Falcon wanting to become Captain America and not wanting to become, that's his problem. The small problems. This is a massive problem, so it's going to be more exciting. So I have to say that this is a 10. This is the best Disney Plus series they came out with, and the finale is a chef's kiss. It was just perfect.
Yeah, the finale definitely had me in awe. Like it legit had me in awe.
I've been podcasting with Tech for about 7 years.
A lot of years.
And I've never heard him give anything a perfect score.
Wow.
That's a perfect score, dude. That's a perfect score, dude.
Perfect score,
it hit
dude.
Everything. It hit everything I wanted to hit.
It literally did. It hit everything.
It made me completely wrong. My jaw dropped when the elevator opened and it was Jonathan Major.
You hear me?
Right.
Bro, I was
And
like, what?
screamed.
Bro, I swear. Like, there's footage. If you go look at me watching it, it's on YouTube. Legit, I was like, my jaw was just ajar the entire time. My boy Range in the chat, I like to point out, says, this is the first thing that feels like essential viewing for the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I 100% agree. Like, and
Can't skip this one.
And I'm gonna just to throw another log on the fire here. I know we don't have too much time, but to throw another log on the fire here, a lot of people went back and they started overlapping the videos at certain times. And apparently, if you get at the certain point of the WandaVision, the WandaVision finale, and at the same point of the season, the finale of Loki, it's the same time as he drops the thing on the table is when Scarlet Witch powers up.
Yeah.
So it's like people are really paying attention to like what they're doing.
You guys think that's real?
I personally, I wouldn't be surprised. Think about it. She's a Nexus being.
Right.
If that's an accident, that's the weirdest accident that editing made. Like editing
Exactly.
made.
Right? It's really
yeah.
weird, right? So personally, I think that and you said a 10, huh, Tech? I'm still stuck on this. A 10, huh?
I think it's a 10.
Okay. Wait,
give it a
Ben,
9.
what did you give it? Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I was gonna give it a 9.5. I really struggle to find anything wrong with it. I'm
Right.
a big sci-fi head, and this is just raw sci-fi. Up to the planet colliding with them running. Come on.
That's
just
true.
Sci-fi greatness. So yeah, I loved everything about it. It's definitely my favorite MCU show. Falcon coming up under that one.
Mhm. I respect that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the social message that Falcon had is just
So powerful.
so overpowered. Yeah, dude, OP.
Yeah.
There
But,
was some. They say, and also JD Rex points out. It says there are some synced sounds between Wanda and Loki at
Oh
that
shit,
point.
epic! I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
So with that being said, I will say I definitely like this show the most out of the Disney Plus shows, and not because anyone meant specifically more to me, but more about what it meant to the MCU, right? Like I still love Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I still love WandaVision, but this also carries over to the point where I was making before about how each show and each movie covers a different thing. Like Ben, you said you love it because it's sci-fi, right? Like I love that as well. I also love the fact that they kept us in the real world with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I do like the mysticism and the powerful aspects of WandaVision. And I think this is true. I think this is essential Marvel viewing if for the MCU, like my homie Ren said. And with that being said, right? I'm gonna give it a 9.5. I'm only not giving it a 10 because I feel my bias leaking into my review. So to mitigate that, I'm gonna just give it a 9.5 because it's ridiculous. I did not know that I would come to love Tom Hiddleston as
Come on.
I didn't know. People were like,
He's so
man,
good.
Tom Hiddleston, man, he's fucking dancing. He's all cool. He plays Loki. I'm like, yeah, man, he all right. And now I'm just like, damn, this motherfucker is actually ridiculous. I'm actually dude, when he was that last scene when he went like before he kissed Sylvie, he's like, look, listen. He was like, I don't want anything. I don't want the throne. I just know that I don't want to hurt you. I was like, oh my God, Tom Hiddleston, you're giving me the vapors, bro.
I don't want anything bad to happen to you. I think he's
the way that line delivered, he was like, and he did like the small, I don't want anything to happen to you. I was like, oh God damn it. God, get this motherfucker, give him an award right now. Like,
it brings so much like power to the character that it changes how I view the other previous movies and previous iterations of Loki. Like I tend to like him more, like or understand him more. You know, like it just the character development is next level with Loki, and it kind of always has been.
Yeah,
I feel like that's when they hit their villain stride was with Loki.
No,
and
that's
it just
true.
Didn't disappoint.
Sozan says Wanda then Loki, Falcon are all good though. No, that's true. That's true. That's true.
They're all solid. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing's bad. Hasn't been a bad yet.
But no, man, damn, that's a really good. Damn, that just lets you know it's good. Everybody gave it above an 8. Even the people in the chat, there wasn't even everybody.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It's nothing but 8s and up. So that lets you know, man. That lets you know just how good it is. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm going to watch some trailers with the taste buds after this, and then I'm gonna watch the first episode of What If. I don't know, and we can talk about this later because I don't want to put y'all on the spot. We can work out trying to talk about like Marvel What If a little bit more, especially if we can do like an earlier stream like this, because I'm probably gonna stream twice today, so we can definitely come back and do this. Ben, I know you have to take off, but before you guys leave, do me a favor. Shout out your socials, anything y'all working on, and let them know where to follow you.
Sketch Sawyer everywhere, literally everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Main thing I'm working on right now is a video game called Void Speed Outlaw.
Speed Outlaw.
I'm making Steve some graphics right now, which
That's
are
true.
very Void Speed Outlaw.
What? Let's
I've been
go.
working on it the whole time we've been talking.
Yo, word! Look at the multitasking ability.
It's on, but the game's on Steam. We got 2,000 wish lists so far. So.
Yo, check that out. Yo, send me the trailer. If you have a trailer or anything like that, send that shit to me.
I got a little teaser. It's like 60 seconds long.
Boom. Let's go. Actually, if you want, man, you can definitely come on this bad boy and talk about it if you want to. We can definitely send me the trailer no matter what though.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Also, all right. Well, look, yo, Tech, let us know, man. Where can we follow? Where do we go to see you? I know you still streaming. I actually was up mad late the other day and fell asleep like right at your stream. Like, all right, Ben just started, and then I passed out. Like it was what.
That's what's up. I gotta hit him with this.
Tech Supreme.
Yeah, everywhere social is Tech Supreme. I was at a bar last Saturday, and every time I got a TikTok follower, I yelled out I'm different, and they knew what I was doing. So TikTok's going well for me. I'm getting a lot of followers. The podcast, Run Free Tech Supreme, my podcast has been doing really good. That's where a lot of the followers are coming from, is me posting clips of that. So go to YouTube, look up Tech Supreme, and check out my podcast, and that's it.
Well, gentlemen, you already know it's a pleasure. I know I got you guys early, and this is very spare of the moment, but I appreciate y'all coming through. Let's see if we can work to, making this a regular thing. I don't mind actually doing this. It makes it very talk showy. I can, get me some tea, get a coffee, and we can like go over it. But we're gonna work on the schedule. I appreciate you, gentlemen. Yo, chat, do me a favor, make some noise for the homies. Tech Supreme, Sketch Sawyer coming through. They're busy schedules, man. To come through and talk to the taste buds about some shit we just geek out about anyway. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, Steve. Appreciate you, Taste Buds. Thank you for having us.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
dude,
Y'all be
all
good.
All right, see y'all soon.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.